walking through a ghost town. Y'all ain't playing my sounds. Don't tell me to calm down. Don't tell me to calm down. Only time I go backwards is when I wanna moonwalk. Don't test me, my mood's wrong. Don't test me, my mood's wrong. We are who we say that we are. Yeah, we're lost in the stars, and it's all from the start. Never running no pace, never on the right page, but we still read that book, and we still run that race. Ay, Mississippi Racer riding out, no shortcuts, no time for that. Mississippi Racer riding out, till the wheels fall off, I'm driving that. Mississippi Racer riding out, we'll stop burning, strike the match. Mississippi Racer riding out, red light, green light, red light, good night. Ay, red light, green light, red light, good night. 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 Time to chill, don't sweat it.
Good morning and welcome. This is Coffee and Sports. This is the morning show powered by Wire to Wire Network. Thank you so much for making us part of your morning routine. I am Chris, and of course, that over there, that is Mo. Mo, happy Thursday, sir.
Happy Thursday to you, partner, and everybody out there listening and watching. We appreciate you.
Mo, sometimes people just can't leave things alone. And that is what is happening with the Associated Press right now. The Associated Press has come out yesterday, Mo, and they have clarified. We're going to use that word, clarified. They have clarified the guidelines and the spirit of the AP Comeback Player of the Year award, because they feel that the spirit of the award is not currently being represented. So you'll recall this past season, it was Joe Flacco who won the Comeback Player of the Year award. And last season, it was Geno Smith who won the Comeback Player of the Year award. Now, Mo, before we get any deeper into this, I didn't really have an issue with either of those people. Did you?
No, not at all.
So the AP has come out and said that the spirit of the AP Comeback Player of the Year award is to honor a player who has demonstrated resilience in the face of adversity by overcoming illness, physical injury, or other circumstances that led him to miss playing time the previous season. So apparently, Mo, what they don't want is a player that used to be good or used to be relevant and then wasn't relevant for a little bit. And then, I don't know, I'm going to use this word, I can't think of a better one, had a comeback.
How fitting.
Win the Comeback Player of the Year award.
Right.
So, Mo, I look at this and I say, well, damn, that means that this season it's either going to go to Joe Burrow or Aaron Rodgers.
That's what those were my front runners.
Because if it has to be a comeback from injury, you pretty much know mid-season, the season before, like you can pretty much mark it off. Like, let's say that only one of them got hurt. Let's say either Aaron or Burrow got hurt. They will probably be a competitive race this year. But let's just say Aaron got hurt. We could have literally checked the box September 8th last season. Aaron Rodgers is probably winning Comeback Player of the Year next season as long as he plays.
Correct.
Doesn't that hurt I'm sorry. Do you really want your award to be an award where you can basically September 8th, week 1, game 1, or was it Monday Night Football? Either way, week 1 of the 2023 season or 2024 season, you can predict who's going to win the Comeback Player of the Year? Mo, that's ridiculous.
It doesn't make sense to me. Like, to me, a better story, a more realistic, or would make sense to me is say, if Ezekiel Elliott ended up having a 1,200-yard, 13 touchdown season for the Cowboys, that would be a Comeback Player of the Year worthy of being a comeback. You know what I mean? He was a star, fell off. We thought he was done.
Went to a different team.
Right. And then basically came back to be more of a backup or play running back by committee. And he busts out and has a big season. That is a worthy Comeback Player of the Year award. Look, I think you can have both things. If it happens to be an injured player who comes back and they have a great season, that's fine. But I'm more of the opinion that when Geno Smith won it, it was because Geno had struggled throughout his career and been a backup so many different times, and then he busted out and had that amazing season for the Seahawks. That to me was a Comeback Player of the Year award. I don't know how you make the decision. I didn't even know they had this threshold where it had to be somebody coming back from injury. I didn't know that. I knew it could be somebody coming back from injury, but I didn't know there was a cutoff. Like, to me, Joe Flacco was finished. He was done. He was at home watching football, had not worked out, had not done anything. And then he gets up off the couch and he takes the Browns to the playoffs. I think that's comeback player of the year worthy.
I don't know what else would you call it if you don't call it a comeback. Like, there isn't another word for what Geno Smith and Joe Flacco did the last 2 seasons. And Mo, let's not be naive. We know why this is happening. It's happening because Damar Hamlin didn't win it. That is where this is all coming from. People were outraged. Peter King called it absurd that Joe Flacco would get first place votes over Damar Hamlin. Guys, we said it here months ago on this show. Damar Hamlin died on a football field. He was clinically dead for moments on a football field. That is a absolutely insane thing. He came back to life. He won life that day, right?
100%.
He won life. You look at it and you're asking people, Damar Hamlin, Mo, wins that award 100 out of 100 times if he's a starter for the Buffalo Bills, if he's a consistent player.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, that's why he didn't win it. I think he started 3 games this past season. I think he dressed for a handful more of games this past season. There were numerous games he wasn't even on the active roster come game day. That's why I don't think he won it. Where in the face you're seeing what Joe Flacco did, and even Baker got comeback player of the year votes.
I can see that.
Because he goes to his 3rd team after, the unceremonious exit from Cleveland, the failure that it was with the Panthers. It's actually his 4th team. His 3rd team was the Rams. He had that one flash in the pan Monday Night Football game with the Rams.
It was great that night.
Basically got him the opportunity in Tampa Bay. And then all through the preseason, we're like, is he going to beat out Trask? Like, is he even going to start for Tampa Bay week 1? That was a legitimate conversation last season in training camp during the preseason. We don't even know if Baker's going to start for the Bucs, much less be the guy. And then he leads them to the division in the playoffs. That's a comeback story. Like, no one is Mo, I say this all the time. You can believe 2 things at once. You can believe that what Damar Hamlin overcame ranks above all else because he overcame death. He lived. No story is better than that.
No question.
But when you take the comeback player of the year stuff into consideration, you're asking voters to literally throw off to the side on the field accomplishment. So with Damar Hamlin, you're basically saying his medical circumstance trumps everything else, because his medical circumstance was so dire and it was life or death, and he did clinically die on the field, that the fact that he was able to play football, that should be enough, as opposed to someone who played football at a very high level and was very successful and elevated their team to great team success, like a Joe Flacco, because his circumstance wasn't dire or medical or however you want to look at it. For those reasons, he should not qualify for the award. I see what they're saying. It's their award, Mo. They can phrase it any way they want. They can set the criteria any way they want. But I'm telling you right now, as we go through this upcoming NFL season, the first time a big star gets hurt, you might as well pencil them in for comeback player of the year next year, because they're going to be the front runner for it.
At least the way that they're trying to frame it. My way of thinking is this. What if Damar Hamlin comes out this season, plays all 17 games, plays at a high level? Maybe he's second on the team in interceptions or passes deflected. He would be a legitimate contender for comeback player of the year this year, in my opinion, right? that would be a worthy accomplishment. That would make better sense to me than, even though we think the most important thing is that he won at life. He is alive today and well, and we wish nothing but the best for him. But I always thought comeback player of the year in any league was somebody who may have struggled, may have fought through an injury, wasn't playing their best, maybe even got moved on from another team, and then they came back and played at a high level. I remember thinking back in the day that Kurt Warner was washed when he was on the New York Giants, like he was done, and then he goes to the Cardinals, and he looks like Kurt Warner from the Rams, and he was a worthy recipient of comeback player of the year. That makes sense to me. The injury thing, I think that's a default setting that doesn't make sense to me. And if it's really all about Damar Hamlin, and I think you're right, you can give him another award. We can honor him just for the fact that he's around, he's still here. But like you said, he didn't play much. And when you don't play much, you're either not healthy or you're not playing well. There's no way he should have been like the runaway recipient of comeback player of the year. I just don't see that. To me, it was going to be Flacco, or it was going to be Baker, or something of that nature. And to me, it shouldn't have been that close. Like you could make a case for certain players. The case for Damar Hamlin, to use your words, was really about saying, well, because he came back and he's alive, he should be comeback player of the year. Never mind if he does anything at all in the field. And I'm not ragging on Damar Hamlin. My guess is he would say the same thing, that I didn't really do enough to earn the award. But bigger picture, Damar, you're alive, bro. You've won. You've won times 10. But I just don't understand. Like you said, from now on, when somebody gets hurt, they're going to be comeback player of the year the following season, no matter what they do. What if they get hurt and it's a quarterback and he comes back and he throws 30 picks, 10 touchdowns, still going to be comeback player of the year?
Looking at the history of the award, it's pretty much a quarterback award, by the way. So the odds of a safety winning, now I know back in 2015, Eric Berry from the Kansas City Chiefs, he did win the award. I believe that was after his battle with cancer, and he returned back to the Chiefs in 2015. And again, we're splitting hairs here, but Eric Berry was a big part of that Kansas City Chiefs defense prior to his health battle, and then he returned to the Chiefs after that. But if you look at our previous comeback player of the year award winners, Joe Flacco, Geno Smith, Joe Burrow, Alex Smith, Ryan Tannehill, Andrew Luck. That's 2023 through 2018. Then we had a stretch of non-quarterbacks: Keenan Allen, Jordy Nelson, Eric Berry, and Rob Gronkowski. And then we had a stretch of more quarterbacks: Phillip Rivers, Peyton Manning, Matthew Stafford, Michael Vick, Tom Brady, Chad Pennington, who won it for his second time in 2008 with the Miami Dolphins. That was coming off of that was not coming off an injury, I don't believe. That was the year Miami traded for him. I believe he was supplanted as the starter in New York.
Yeah. He
became the backup quarterback with the Jets. The Dolphins traded for him. He won the starting quarterback with Miami, and then he had led them to a division title. Again, not following injury. And Mo, I don't believe the Vic thing was following injury. I think the Vic thing was following prison, but maybe prison is other circumstances that led him to miss playing time the previous season.
Does it say that?
That's the third criteria. The third criteria. So the criteria is illness, physical injury, or other circumstances that led him to miss playing time the previous season. I guess prison
it
would
qualify.
fall under that criteria.
Well, yes, he obviously missed playing time, but I mean, because he was doing time. Yeah, that works. And look, I get it. I remember the Vic thing. It was when he became the starter with the Eagles. He had that one really good season for them. So I understand that happened. But again, that was there. I guess they'll say because of his circumstances. I'll say because of how he played. He played well, and he earned it that way. I think that's the way it should work. You should, if you come back or face adversity or something, and then you play well, then you're worthy of the award. Not just, well, I'm healthy again. and I throw for 18 touchdowns and 18 picks, you should not be comeback player of the year.
And also just because I find this humorous as well, the first player, so the comeback player of the year award debuted in 1963. It went away from 1967 to 1997. It came back in 1998. The first player to win it in 1998 was Buffalo Bills quarterback Doug Flutie. Mo, I guess he also falls under the missed the previous season for other circumstances. Oh, that's because he wasn't in the league. He wasn't.
like Joe Flacco.
Right,
Joe Flacco.
right.
They were unemployed, right?
Flutie was up there in the Canadian Football League doing his thing up there. So, what's the difference between Flutie and Flacco? Neither were in the. Well, I know. I guess Flacco was in the NFL the previous season. He was a backup somewhere, wasn't he?
He might have been. I don't remember.
I think he was a backup somewhere. But I digress, Mo. We know what's going to happen. This year, it's either going to be Rodgers or Burrow. Pencil it in. Whoever has the better season, if one of those teams wins the division, whichever one has the better numbers, they are going to be the comeback player of the year. Cottrell's calling it down there in the chat right now. Henry Ruggs, 2028 comeback player of the year.
Okay. All right, Cottrell.
If it can do it, Ruggs can do it. Come on now, guys. Come on now.
Why not?
Why not? All right, let's pivot to this. Mo, there was video. We love some good off-season NFL video, don't we? And some video surfaced yesterday from Justin Fields. Justin Fields was throwing. I don't know much about this fella, but there is someone called the Route God. There is someone called the Route God on YouTube. Apparently, he is a very popular streamer. And Justin Fields was throwing to the Route God. And the Route God was posting the videos of him running some pretty clean routes. I have to say, Mo, they were pretty clean routes. But that wasn't the story of the video, Mo. The story of the video was that while the Route God is out there running these clean routes in his shorts, very, very athletic looking fella, by the way, the balls were getting there very late. I'm talking like the Route God runs his route. He turns. The ball's not there yet. And it's like a beat or two before the ball is in his hands. And people from the Steelers are watching these videos and they're like, am I the only one noticing that every ball the Route God is catching is late? And Steelers fans weren't the only ones noticing, Mo. Le'Veon Bell decided to chime in on the conversation, basically saying, well, what we all were observing with their eyes. And he basically, he complimented the Route God for running his routes. But he goes, I know you're out there playing against air, but those balls are all late. And Mo, we know Le'Veon can be Le'Veon sometimes, but he wasn't wrong. The balls were all late. So I get it. It's just a workout video. We don't really know. It wasn't even Justin Fields' cut of the video. We know that when the quarterback cut goes out there, Mo, we all see the certain things, right? It's that 80-yard bomb down the sidelines, the slow motion spiral of the football. We know what the quarterback cut of the video looks like. And Cottrell got it right down there in the chat. His throwing coach did come out and say it wasn't a timing drill. But again, it's just one of those things where if you're the Steelers in your Fields, you're like, come on now, Route God. Why you got to be putting that out there?
Right. So I guess the whole point is the Route God, his version of it makes it seem like Steeler fans should be concerned, right?
Right.
And if I'm the Steelers Nation, I'm not sweating this. I'm going to judge Justin Fields literally on what he does in training camp, what he does in preseason, and eventually when he gets into real games and it matters. This is just one of those things that the times that we live in, you're going to have no shortage of people going like, I don't know, Steelers, what did you sign up for? Look at this guy. Like, everything's slow. Like, he can't even get the football to the Route God. And I'm like, I've never heard of the Route God, but this is what I'll say about the Route God. If you're a Route God and you're not in the NFL.
Oh, Mo Mo's taking shots at the route god on a Thursday morning.
I mean, you're a route god running against air, but so yeah, I'll give you credit for that. But if you were really a route god, you'd be on somebody's roster.
Mo, you are not wrong. You are not wrong. Mo, you know that different NFL position groups do these fun little, let's call them retreats. I think it started with the tight ends a handful of years ago. Not all, but a lot of the NFL tight ends would get together in the off season and pick each other's brains and do different workouts. And basically, it's like a tight end retreat. They all hang out together. There's some camaraderie amongst them. And it started to catch on amongst other group positions in the NFL. You see linemen doing it. You see cornerbacks and defensive backs doing it during the offseason. Big groups of defensive backs from different teams coming together. It's a learning thing. It's a bonding thing. It's just getting to meet in a different environment, the people you indirectly play against week after week kind of thing. Well, Mo, in my opinion, the most unlikely people to voice this opinion came out on social media and said they want all the wide receivers to get together and do the same thing. And that person was A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown came out on social media and was basically like, what's up, my wide receivers? You see the tight ends doing it. You see the linemen doing it. You see the defensive backs doing it. Why aren't we doing it? We need to get together during the offseason. I want to learn. I want to teach. I want to hang out with all you guys. Let's make it happen. Mo, I don't know if that would ever happen because there are a lot of personalities, well-known personalities when it comes to those wide receivers. So I don't know. I would sign up for it. I would want it to be a Netflix special if they were bringing all the wide receivers together for like a 5-day or a 3-day retreat. Like somebody record that and cut it up and turn it into a 3 or 4 or 5 part docuseries, because I want to see all of that. But I don't know if they would do it. I don't know if you would get a big group of, because what are you talking? You're talking Tyreek. You're talking Justin Jefferson. You're talking Chase. You're talking CD. You're talking Diggs. You're talking all of them. Are they all going to come together? And who's teaching at that point? Who's teaching? Like, are we bringing like, if Randy Moss and Jerry Rice going to show up?
Right.
They're going to teach, like, because if Justin's like, all right, guys, let me tell you how I do it. People are going to be like, well, let me tell you how I do it. I'm just as good. Like, your CD Lamb's like, listen, okay, I know I haven't got paid yet, but I'm just as good as you. Let me tell you how. I'm not saying it would be that, Mo, but I just feel like we know there's more personalities in the wide receiver group than there are in the tight end group. And maybe the tight ends do have bigger personalities and we just don't know them. But I just don't see this whole wide receiver retreat being a thing. But if it is, Mo, I want to see it.
You can sign me up for it. I don't know how it would work. I think the only way it would work is you would have to have someone, an NFL person, like you said, maybe somebody from the past, maybe a T.O. or a Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, maybe a former coach who's known for working with wide receivers. Somebody would have to be able to be the one to run the drills, to keep things on time, because you're bringing in not just an incredible, talented group of players, you are bringing in some of the biggest egos in all of football. And I think one of the reasons why it won't happen is these guys don't really want to share anything because they will all want to outshine each other. It would, at one point it's going to break down to, I actually think I'm faster than him. You think you're faster than me?
Right.
And really what it would come down to is a series of 100-yard dash challenges and stuff like that. If you have a structured, in a way to where, like I said, you keep the train on time, then I could see it working. Look, just for entertainment value, Chris, letting them just riff and just be their true selves, the entertainment value would be through the roof. I don't know if the actual drills or what they work out would actually be that entertaining, but just seeing them around each other saying like, well, you only put up those numbers because of the offense you're in. If I was in that offense or if I was playing with that quarterback, you know what I mean? Like, I can see somebody like, because Deebo Samuels has a huge ego and Deebo's there talking trash. You're like, you're in an offense that's so wide receiver friendly and you're not even the best wide receiver on your team. I know you're not talking like that. The trash talk would be through the roof. So I don't see it happening because at some point the trash talk would be fun and then it would get personal and then it wouldn't be fun anymore.
Well, let's pivot to the boxing world. Ryan Garcia has announced his retirement from boxing on social media. He is 25 years old. Interestingly enough, Mo, this comes after the whole banned substance scandal. His lawyers have come out and said that he is a victim of supplement contamination. He just received a bad batch of supplements. Now, Ryan did go on a little rant on social media talking about his career and how he's walking away. And although we have confirmed, or not we, but it has been confirmed that the tweets were his. It was his words. Obviously, he could easily walk back from this and be like, I'm not leaving, guys. I just, I was in my feelings. But Mo, let's say this is legitimate and he does walk away. 25 years old. I think he has an estimated net worth of $20 million. He even said it. He even said in his tweets, boxing's going to be just fine without me, which I agree. Boxing will probably be just fine without him, but not a great look for the sport of boxing. You don't want a 20 or 25-year-old, one of your 25-year-old stars walking away from the sport essentially in the prime of their career. Not a great look for him either. When you're 25 years old and you're walking away on the heels of a banned substance, 2 failed tests for your banned substance there, Mo. All around, kind of weird and not really a great look for anyone.
The thing about boxing is it's always had like a dark element to it, right? I've seen fights where one fighter totally dominated another fighter from round 1 through round 12, and it ended up being a split decision. And I know what I saw, and I know what everybody else saw, but the judges saw something else. Like the judges saw, like, I think he was beating up his hands with his face, and you guys underrated what he was doing with his face. It's crazy. I'm looking at Ryan Garcia, who is an incredible talent, one of the stars right now in boxing, and to me, I don't believe it. I feel like I know what he said and what's going on, but I think this is one of those kind of things where maybe he's trying to diffuse the other story about the substance abuse, right? Like get off of, I can't believe Ryan's walking away, because he is at the peak of his career right now with nothing but big fights and matchups ahead of him. And you say $20 million. If he gets the fights that he should get, that 20 will be $200 million. You know what I mean? Like, I don't believe he's really going to walk away unless, because like you said, his lawyers said that he's a victim of, what was it? Supplement contamination. Yeah. So basically he got some supplements that were like laced with the things you're not supposed to have. I'm not going to say that's impossible, because I guess it's possible, but
where are you getting your supplements from?
That was going to be my next question.
$20 million. Where the hell are you getting your supplements from? Because if it's a back alley, we have a bigger issue on our hands, Mo.
Right. You took the words out of my mouth. I was like, you're worth 20. Actually, you're worth more than that on potential earnings. You can't be getting your supplements out of the back of somebody's trunk named Ray Ray. You can't be doing that. You can go to a legit supplement store. You can go to a nutrition. You can go to a doctor who can sign off on those things. You have to be smarter than that, especially in these times, right? You know that. You had to know that. So look, and I'm not saying that he or his team are lying. I'm saying this is what they're saying happened. Do I believe that's what happened? I don't, but that's the skeptic in me. How many times have we heard an athlete go like, oh no, that was my somebody tainted my B sample, and really, I'd be more than willing to take another test now, like, right, because now you're clean.
Right.
So yeah, I think eventually he's going to fight again because the money's out there, and there's been no shortage of times that he's not gone to social media and talked about how badly he wants to be known as one of the greatest. So I don't know if he's doing this for show or for deflection, but I don't think he's going to stay retired.
Is this AP comeback player of the year worthy here? Does this qualify?
Well, yeah. So, because that's another look. I'm a boxing fan, but one of the things I can't stand about boxing is if you have a big fight and then they talk about the next big fight won't happen for 2 or 3 years or longer. They don't fight very often. The top fighters, they go out, they seek and make money first, and then they want to fight each other on the back end of their careers where the fight's not nearly as entertaining. So, to use your words, yes, if he misses a few fights, it's comeback boxer of the year worthy. They're going to say Ryan Garcia came back after taking a 6-month lead, and look what he's done. Yeah, okay.
Mo, he has a career 25-1 record that includes the victory in his last fight, which is now tainted due to the failed drug test. And that 25-1 record includes 20 knockouts. And again, he is only 25 years old. So very, very impressive what he has done in his young career thus far. All right, Mo, let's get into some NBA stuff. It would not be the NBA offseason if Clutch Sports was not trying to dominate every aspect of it. And if you did not having LeBron James shoved down your throat during the NBA season, then you should just not be partaking in the NBA offseason because his agent is literally directing everything right now. He decided that he was going to have a bunch of conversations earlier this week, yesterday and the day before, about the draft and LeBron and Bronny, because he represents both of them. And he was gonna set the record straight. That's what Rich Paul decided he was gonna do, Mo. So Rich Paul comes out yesterday and he basically says there isn't much to this whole LeBron wants to play with Bronny thing. If he does, great. If he doesn't, he doesn't. It is what it is. He also said that the Lakers drafting Bronny at 55 doesn't guarantee that LeBron re-signs with the Lakers. He said if that was the case, I would force the Lakers to draft him at 17 so that LeBron re-signed with the Lakers. He also said, Mo, that the idea of LeBron taking the league minimum to go to the Phoenix Suns is not even a talking point, and that conversation should go right out the window. So, Mo, I look at his comments, and a couple of things. The one that really sticks out to me is if it was that simple, I would just tell the Lakers, I would force the Lakers to take him at 17.
That's what stood out to me.
Okay. So what you're telling me is it wouldn't even be good enough for Bronny to go at 55. Because if Bronny going to the Lakers was going to be a condition for LeBron to re-sign, why would it matter if he went at 17 or 55? If he was going to go at 55, then great. Take him at 55. LeBron's going back to the Lakers. I guess what he's saying is he would force him to take him at 17 just to guarantee that Bronny gets there. I guess that was the point of why he was saying that. But that was just such a weird thing for him to say, Mo.
Weird, but very Clutch Sports-like. So let's start with this. First of all, he's not forcing the Lakers to do anything. Now you could get into the conversation about will they not take Bronny at 55. The Lakers aren't taking Bronny at 17. I don't care what LeBron wants or Rich Paul wants. That's Fantasyland stuff. They're not going to do that. There's plenty of players that are better and NBA ready than Bronny James right now. And unless the Lakers, to me, if LeBron plans on being a Laker, then he would want the Lakers to take the best player available because that's going to help him, right? Or he would want the Lakers to trade the pick for a player that can help him in the immediate. So that the thing that Rich Paul is saying is kind of nonsensical. You wouldn't make them do anything. You wouldn't make them do anything. And then no one ever said LeBron was going to go to Phoenix on a minimum salary. What people were saying was, is it impossible that he could end up in Phoenix? It's not. So let's be realistic. We know the money would have to match up. Well, the money would match up real easy. You move Bradley Beal's contract.
Yep.
It's really that simple. So don't act like it's not a possibility. Some of this is common sense. If LeBron James truly wants to win another NBA title, then he's not going to come back to the Lakers. And I'm saying this as a Laker fan. They're not built right now to compete for a title. And while they have some wiggle room, some cap space, and a couple of assets, I don't think they have enough that's going to flip them around and go, well, now we're set. We're just as good as the Nuggets, just as good as the Timberwolves and OKC. There is no magical pill or move they're going to make this offseason to make them one of the top 3 teams in the Western Conference. Whatever move they make, at best, they're going to be a 6th or 7th seed. That's not good, and you're not a title contender. So the idea of LeBron, like, well, he's not going to leave, well, he didn't have to leave, but again, if the goal is to win titles, then he will leave, because the Lakers, and the truth is, as a Laker fan, they should be making moves for their future after LeBron, whether he leaves or stays, in my opinion, because if you try to go all in and you get rid of all your assets to try to bring in a name and you come up short and then he leaves, because he will, you will have no assets to start the rebuild. That's just being smart. And I think at some point, Jeanie Buss and Rob Pelinka realized that, hence the reason why they went after Coach Hurley, right? They went after Coach Hurley. But I think one of the sticking points, yes, A was the money, but B was Coach Hurley was probably thinking, what are our plans in the present with LeBron and what we're trying to do going forward in terms of building upon life after LeBron in the future? And I don't think they gave him a clear enough cut answer, right? Like they might have gave them that, well, we don't want about the future. Let's just get you on board, and then you'll get you can put your program in place. And he probably is like, how I'm going to put anything in place as long as LeBron and AD are here, because when you have LeBron on your team, automatically it's like, well, we're either going all in or not, right? There's no in between. And I think Coach Hurley, to his credit, didn't want to be stuck in basketball purgatory. Not when he could go back to UConn, where he's a god on campus and has the opportunity to add to his career legacy. And look, the money between what the Lakers were offering and what UConn were offering, it is not that big. It's not that big a gap, minus all the headaches that come from being a coach in the NBA. I just think that what's consistent in every NBA offseason, and you touched on this, is Clutch Sports floods the market with a number of comments. And don't forget, Clutch Sports has a lot of clients. Matter of fact, another big free agent who people will value that's going to be a free agent this offseason, he's going to opt out, will be Kentavious Caldwell-Pope from the Nuggets. That's another Clutch guy. And it's going to be interesting where he lands, because he is opting out, Chris, of a $15 million a deal that's going to pay him $15 million this coming season. So I'm thinking, if he's valued at $15 million per and he's opting out at 15, is he looking to make 18 or 20 per? And remind you, very good role player, a proven, very good 3-and-D guy. But where is he going to go, and what contender is going to invest $20 million in him, $20 million per season?
Paul was also interviewed by Bleacher Report with Chris Haynes, and he was basically asked the same question, but he didn't give the same response, Mo. He said, well, LeBron said he wanted to play with his son. Bronny can't do anything about that, and that's nothing we should push back on. If he wants to play with his son, that's that. But again, I have a job to do representing Bronny and LeBron. LeBron's season's over. I'm focused on Bronny and the rest of our draft class. If it aligns where he can play with his dad, great. Am I necessarily focused on that? No, not at all. I'm focused on a team plan investment and a seriousness as it pertains to fit and opportunity for Bronny. So the second go around yesterday where he was asked about it, it was a complete pivot from LeBron to Bronny. Again, good agent speaking out of both sides of his mouth. And then Mo, he drops this little dime in that interview. We know that he's only worked out, this being Bronny, for the Lakers and the Suns. We know that other teams have requested workouts. We don't know who they are, but he's apparently dodging other teams and not willing to work out for other teams, which again fuels the speculation that either the Lakers or the Suns are going to draft him. But then Rich Paul wants us to believe that there are 3 other teams interested in Bronny. And in that same interview, he named those 3 teams. He said Minnesota at 37, but I don't know who their owner will be. He said Toronto at 31 because Macy loves Bronny. And then he said Dallas at 58 because Nico Harrison is like an uncle to Bronny. You can't have all these things work at the same time and have us be and believe you. It's nonsensical, Mo, what he wants us to believe. You want us to believe that Minnesota, Dallas, and Toronto are all interested in Bronny, but yet he hasn't worked out for any of them. And
Right.
now there's reports coming out that he's dodging workout requests because he only plans on working out for the Lakers and the Suns. So these 3 teams are going to sit there and do what? They're going to hope that the Lakers pass him at 17 and the Suns pass him at 22. And if you're Toronto, you hope he falls into your lap at 31, even though he hasn't apparently given your team any time of day to work out, to interview, to do anything along those lines. That's what we're hoping for. You want us to believe that. Or you want us to believe that a Toronto or a Minnesota at 31 or 37 may potentially trade up and try to jump Phoenix at 22 to get Bronny before Phoenix comes. Like, that's what you want us to believe? He's worked out for 2 teams, Mo. He's going to be a Laker or a Sun, I would say. I don't think he gets past the Suns at 22. I don't think the Suns value their draft picks. I think Phoenix has this vision of, if we get Bronny in the door, we can figure out a LeBron trade because we got KD here, we got Book here, we can make the money work like you alluded to earlier. And at the end of the day, if we go to LeBron and say, listen, what do you want to do? You want to run it back with AD and whoever they drafted at 17 and try to keep all those pieces together? Or do you want to come over here and play with your son and KD and Book and basically guarantee ourselves a trip to the Western Conference Finals,
At a
and
minimum.
then we'll see what happens when we get there? He doesn't go back to LA in that situation, Mo, does he? No, not if he wants to win titles.
No, look, I'm just talking realistically. So I understand that, but right, you just laid it out. James Jones, who has a very close relationship with LeBron, Rich Paul, the whole 9, and is the GM of the Suns. It would not stun me if James Jones picked Bronny James with the 22nd pick. It wouldn't stun me at all. I think that James Jones is of the belief that it comes in stages. Stage 1, get Bronny. Stage 2, now we can negotiate. I can move Bill's contract. I can make the money work. If I have to move Nurk and Bill to make them, I could do that too. But he can make the money work. So the argument that, well, LeBron's not, of course he's not going to go there in a minimum deal. But if LeBron wants out, he's going to opt. First of all, let's go with the basics. He's going to opt out of his current deal with the Lakers, right? Correct. He will literally be a free agent. If at some point he tells the Lakers, I decide not to come back, but I don't want to leave you guys hanging high and dry with nothing. So if you give me a sign and trade and this is where I want to go, be it Phoenix or elsewhere, you can at least get back some assets. That's how you do it, right? That's a clutch sports move. They'll work it out, and the selling point will be, you can lose me and get nothing, or you can get back some assets. Of course, they're going to take the second deal. So I don't think it's far-fetched to believe that LeBron James is the kind of guy that isn't considering the possibility of playing in Phoenix. I'm not saying there's no way he'll be a Laker. Of course, I think he'll still remain with the Lakers. But the Lakers have their own issues as well. LeBron wants to win another title. My guess is he's going to let free agency play out and probably be the last person to make a decision, right? He's going to go, oh, so we decided to bring D'Lo back. I didn't really want that. I wanted us to do a sign and trade and move on from him and get somebody else I wanted or whatever. Like, I think LeBron is going to judge the Lakers on what they do in the offseason, and then he's going to make a decision, right? Like, but I think that James Jones is hedging his bet. I'm going to go get Bronny. And I'm going to lay out a really good plan to LeBron what we can do. With LeBron, Book, KD, and some role players, I don't need a star-studded team. My top three guys are better than most teams' top 5 guys.
And all 3 of them can get it when they want to get it. All 3 of them can create. All 3 of them can carry the team at any given time if needed to do so. That they're going health withstanding, they will be in the Western Conference Finals if that team comes together.
I think LeBron to the Suns, he would have his first season where he literally averages a triple-double. Because I think that being the leading scorer will not be his primary idea. He's about winning another title. I think he would be good if Book and KD average more points per game, and he'll do the other stuff. So he'll give you 22 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists. I think that's where his mind would be, playing with those 2 guys, and it would work. It would absolutely work.
Monty says that he was, quote, blindsided by his firing from Detroit. He opened up in an interview about it this week. He says that he's been meeting with the ownership group in Detroit in the last couple of weeks, and everything seemed to be progressing towards what next season was going to look like. And then the decision was made to let him go. Mo, are you buying that he was blindsided by his firing in Detroit?
No, I'm not. I mean, come on. Come on, Monty. You sat there on the bench. You was right there. You had the best seat in the house. You saw that train wreck night after night. That record speaks for itself. Like, I don't know how you can have that bad a season and go like, I can't believe they're firing me. Like really? You're that guy? Come on, Monty Williams is a really smart guy, highly intelligent. Look, I don't think he has that kind of ego where he's not naive enough to go, I think I did a pretty good job, all things considered. Like, really? You think that, huh? I don't think so. Like, not only did you disappoint your fan base, from what I've read, that there's a distance between he and his players. Like, they don't like him. You know what I mean? Like there's distance there. I'm a Monty Williams fan, but the whole him to Detroit thing, I thought that was wrong from the start, because I think Monty's more of an old school veteran coach where he went to a team that's basically a college team. And I don't think he was ready to deal with today's young players, right? That because it's different in how you talk to them, how you push them, how you coach them. I just think he wasn't the right guy for the job. Now, having said that, Monty got fired, Chris, but he's walking away with $65 million. Like, don't feel sorry for him. Like, I'm fired, but I'm getting $65 million. The way I would look at it is, I'm getting out of this hellhole for $65 million. That's how I would spin it. Matter of fact, if I'm Monty Williams, I'm available, folks. Like, if you don't have a head coach or you need a top assistant, and you can get me at a bargain price, because I've got $65 million extra already. I'm good. I'm not even asking a lot.
And Mo, let's not forget, when he was fired from his previous job, he walked away with $20 million in a buyout from there. So he's made $85 million large just on buyouts from being fired from his last 2 head coaching positions.
He's got a great agent.
He does. He does 100%. JJ Redick is now being rumored as someone that Detroit might be interested in. Is that smart for JJ? I mean, you could look at it very easily, Mo, and be like, well, he doesn't have head coaching experience. You got to start somewhere. Detroit isn't a great team, but they're a young team. JJ's a younger guy. He could probably relate to them, something that Monty couldn't do. He's not going to win championships in Detroit, but he can get coaching experience. Maybe he can get them to the playoffs one season or the play-in. It could be a good stepping stone for his future NFL coaching career if they can make things work. Or it could be one of those things where he just looks like a fish out of water. He looks like he's totally in over his head on a terrible team, and it could literally derail him from getting any future head coaching opportunities in the NBA. There's so many ways it could go, Mo. Do you think it's something he should consider if they offer it to him?
Honestly, no. Because one, you also have to know the personality of the coach. JJ Redick, even though he's a younger guy and he has a brilliant basketball mind, he runs hot. You know what I mean? Like he runs hot. Like they talk about how Coach Hurley runs hot. Redick runs hot. If you listen to his podcast, if you ever listen to him debate basketball on First Take or any other show, like it takes very little for him to go 0 to 60 and get hot. And I think if you run hot and you go coach a team of guys that are 22 and under, I think he burns out. Like right now, he's got a little bit of gray in his hair, but by the time he's done, he's gonna look like Mr. Joshua from Lethal Weapon. Like I think it's a bad fit. I think if JJ Redick is gonna become a head coach for the first time, even though I don't think it's perfect, I think a veteran situation like the Lakers situation is a much better first head coaching job for him than trying to deal with all those young guys and personalities on a Detroit team with a front office that is clearly impatient. Like if I was JJ Redick and they told me, no, we're going to commit to you for 5 years, like through the ups and downs, we're gonna develop, build this roster together. That would be different, but clearly they're running out of patience. If you're going to just tell Monty 65 million, get the hell out of here. That's not a front office that has a lot of patience. So if I'm JJ Redick, even if they offer it to me, I would say thank you, but no thank you.
And then our last one here today, Mo, we're talking about Monty. He is available, like you said. Is he available to be a good fit for the Los Angeles Lakers?
Yeah, people want to say that. Look, I think Monty Williams is a good coach. I do. And what happened? Look, every good coach also has some stints where they're not so good. It's just it's reality. Look at Phil Jackson when he became, although he wasn't a coach, he was more like the president of basketball operations. But man, did he do a bad job with the Knicks? That was horrible. But I'm just saying, I don't know if Monty is the right coach, because I think that if we're going to commit to another coach, and remember, the Lakers have flip-flop coaches multiple years now. The next guy they hire has to be the guy you're committed to for 5 years or more. Like you have to commit to somebody and say, this is our guy going forward with and beyond LeBron. I don't think Monty Williams would be the right coach for that fit. That doesn't mean that he won't go into the interview and blow Jeannie Buss away if he gets an interview. But I actually think if given the choice between Monty Williams, who's a proven coach, and JJ Redick, I would still take Redick, because it'd be a fresh voice, but it would also be a voice that, in terms of his basketball IQ and what he knows about the game, Redick is at the top of any list. Not to mention, he's still young enough where he can relate to a lot of the guys. Like he can have real conversations with them. And I think it would be easier to have those real conversations with a veteran team with a guy like JJ Redick versus a Monty Williams, who, by the way, if you're the Lakers, and you know the Lakers, Chris, are all about show, are you really going to turn around and take Detroit's hand-me-downs? Yeah,
right.
You're not going to go like, yeah, let's hire the guy that the Pistons didn't think was good enough to be their head coach. No, that's not a good look.
And Mo, it should not be lost on Lakers fans that you're essentially looking for two coaches in one. You're looking for a coach that can handle the veteran squad right now that potentially has LeBron James on it next season and maybe a season after that. And you're looking for the same coach that can also take the Lakers into the rebuild and come out the post-LeBron era looking like roses as well. That's two completely different jobs.
That's true.
That they want one head coach to do potentially. So that goes into it as well, because you can bring in a guy where you're like, oh yeah, he can handle LeBron, they can handle AD, no worries. But can they handle when LeBron leaves? Can they handle whatever that rebuild looks like when LeBron is not there? And it's not going to be a strip it down to the Bears and rebuild from nothing. You're still going to have AD there. You're still going to have pieces there. You're still going to have whoever the Lakers bring in this offseason because they have money to do so. So it's not like you're going to have nothing in the cupboards for the rebuild. But when LeBron James leaves, You're
Yeah.
losing something. So, you're going to have to deal with that, and not every coach is built to do with that. And it looks like from everything the Lakers are saying, they want someone there for 5 years. They want
Right.
that 4, 5, 6 year person. So that's a lot to ask for, Mo.
And when LeBron leaves and the dust clears, I don't think the pressure on that new coach is, well, you got to win a title. But I do think you have to keep the Lakers relevant, right? You know, at least in the picture to where they can say like the Lakers are capable of going on a run per se. That does matters. When LeBron leaves, you can't go from being in the contender conversation to division doormat. It's rare. It hasn't happened over my lifetime as a Laker fan very often. Never the doormat. They've had some bad seasons, but never the doormat. My point is that you're spot on. You're asking the next head coach of the Lakers to be basically two head coaches, and you actually have to have a plan of right now and a plan for beyond right now. And there is no perfect pick for that. Maybe Coach Hurley would have been, and look, had they gone a little bit higher in the dollar signs, maybe he'd already be there right now. That's why I think that I'm looking around, and I know a lot of people say, what about Sam Cassell? Yeah, Sam Cassell is a proven NBA player. He's been a long-time assistant. He knows the game. He's definitely deserving of an opportunity. Maybe Sam Cassell should interview for the Detroit job. But for not just because he's a fresh voice. I think if you can't get your first choice, I think Redick is a logical and a good fit because, again, he could fill that void. He can be the coach in the present, and yet he's young enough to take you into the future too.
All right, Mo, close us out on a Thursday.
Thank you guys so much for joining Chris and I this morning. Make sure you check out all the content that we have at the Wire to Wire Network. Wire to Wire Network, we appreciate you.
Make sure you're back here, same time, same place tomorrow. Mo and I are going to be closing out the week on a fun Friday here. Coffee and Sports. It's the morning show. Same time, same place, Friday morning. We got more stuff to talk about, Mo. We got NFL stuff. We got NBA stuff. It's all happening tomorrow morning. Make sure you are here. Coffee and Sports. It's the morning show powered by Wire.